Hi there, this is John Alexo from Pro Tutorials, and in this video I'm going to talk about duplicate content, because in one of my previous videos someone asked me about this. I found the question interesting, even though it's not something that I worry much about, but I know that a lot of people out there who have websites worry a lot about this, so I decided to make this video, and by the end you will have a great understanding about what is duplicate content, why it's not so serious, and why you shouldn't worry so much about this. So the first topic I'm going to talk about is the 3 myths that most people commonly have when it comes to duplicate content. The second topic is what can you do if you have another website out there who is basically stealing your own content and putting it inside of their website and claiming it has their own. So what can you do to avoid that in the first place, and also what kind of action can you take if you catch another website doing that to your own website. And the third thing I'm going to talk about is what are the tweaks that you can do inside of your website so you can avoid getting penalized by Google for having duplicate content. So let's get started. Okay, so let's bust myth number 1, which is if having non-original content inside of your website will actually impact negatively your website in the search engine rankings from Google. Well, it's not true, okay? A lot of people think that if they have some duplicate content inside of their website, in the next day their website will get penalized by Google, and they worry way too much, because it's just natural for a website to, after a while, have some content that is duplicate. Let's say that, for example, you go to a blog, you read an article that you really enjoy a lot, you're excited, and you share it inside of your blog with your own community. That won't get you flagged by Google for having duplicate content. That's natural. And if you go to many times if you go to a popular website, you will see that they actually republish several articles that they found in another places because they want to share it with their own community. That's perfectly natural to happen. Sure, you should never claim that article to be your own, and you should also ask for the author's permission if you are allowed to publish that inside of your website. Now, your website may get penalized by Google if you start applying really shady strategies into your website. Let's say, for example, if you have a new website and for some reason you decide to republish one of your posts in the next few weeks in 100 or more other websites on the internet, then that probably will get your website flagged by Google. Because one, your website is new, and Google knows that a new website typically doesn't receive so much attention so fast. 2, you are republishing the same content in huge quantities, which looks really spammy. And 3, you are doing it in a short period of time, which doesn't look natural. So this is something that you should avoid doing in your website. And the other thing is making a website where you just provide duplicate content which you found on another website, because I mean, if you are just copying and pasting content from another website, then honestly you're not adding any kind of value to the internet, which is something that Google doesn't want. Now, what I want you to understand is it's not because you have like 1 or 2 articles or a few articles that are duplicate you found on another website and you want to share it with your own community. It's not that will get you flagged by Google, but rather by using really shady strategies, as I already explained. So let's bust myth number 2, which is about scrapper websites. If you don't know what this is, then you probably aren't worried about this, but I'm going to talk a little about this because I know a lot of people worry about scrapper websites. Scrapper website is basically a website that the only thing that they do is copy content from another website and publish it in their own website. They do this for many different reasons. One, for them to be able to gain some money from the advertisement that they have in their website. 2, they may have this website so they can build some authority inside of this website and link it to their main website so they can boost the last website rankings inside of Google. So there are many different reasons why scrapper websites exist, and some of them aren't exactly known. Anyway, it's not something that you really need to worry a lot about. Sure, you should worry a bit about scrapper websites depending on the case, but in most cases, and most of the scrapper websites out there have a low authority inside of the Google search engine. Google really doesn't pay any kind of attention to them, so typically the content that they have inside of the website really doesn't rank well inside of Google. Now, there are cases where scrapper websites have a higher authority. They have probably a higher authority than your website. And this is really a huge thing, because let's say that you have a new website and there's a scrapper website that has more authority than your website, and they publish the content that you have in your own website in theirs. Then there's a problem over there, because authority, you have to see that the more authority that a website has, typically the more it gets crawled by the Google search engines. For example, YouTube, which belongs to Google, is a website that is the most popular one on the internet, and it's constantly being crawled by Google so they can find new content. Now, if you have a new website, typically a new website doesn't get crawled so much. It might be, for example, in a weekly basis or even less. So this means that if a scrapper website has more authority than your website, then very probably their content will get crawled more quickly than yours. So what may happen is there might be some complications in determining which content is actually original. So there you have a problem, and there are a few things that you can actually do to prevent this, which is something that I'm going to talk later on. So let's talk about myth number 3, which is about republishing guest posts in your website. A guest post, if you don't know, is when you write content for another blog so they can publish it inside of their own website. And you do it for different reasons. One of them is so you can get some traffic from that website back to yours, and typically the other reason is so you can get a good backlink from that website, because you typically want to make a guest post for a website that has more authority in the internet than yours. Now, is it bad for you to republish a guest post inside of your website? No. And this is quite similar to myth number 1 when I mentioned about having some duplicate content inside of your website. It's not something that you should really worry about. It's not something that will get your website flagged by Google. Of course, there are a few things that you can do so you can more easily tell the Google crawlers which is the original content. You can use the Canonical Tag, which is something that I'm going to talk about later on in this video. Anyway, it's not a big deal, and actually it's something good. If you have the authorization from the other website to republish the guest post inside of your own, then do it, because that way your community that probably doesn't know the other website and hasn't went to the other website and read your content over there, at least this way, when you republish inside of your website, they get the chance to go to your website and read that content. So it's always a good idea for you to actually republish your guest posts inside of your own website. Okay, so now let's talk about 2 good habits you should have so you can protect yourself against duplicate content. And next, I'm going to talk about what are the actions you should take when you find another website that stole your content. Okay, so what you can do when you publish new content in your website, something that you should really turn it into a habit, and you should immediately do. You should simply grab the URL from your new page and just promote it in social media networks such as in Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and so on. So you write something, a small title, learn how to use XML, and then you publish the link from your new page. The reason why you do this is, 1, the social media networks are constantly being crawled by Google, and this helps the crawlers more easily find your new page in your website and gets your page indexed more quickly. And two, other people will start sharing your content throughout the social media networks. You get more traffic back to your website, but also it pretty much tells the search engines that this content belongs to you, it's original, it comes from your website. The other thing that you can do is simply make a ping, okay? A ping is, basically what is a ping is, you simply put your URL, you put the blog name of your post, title over here, put your email, and you can put even the RS URL that you have for your website. And then you check all of these websites over here. What happens is, once you do a ping, it will notify all of the websites inside of this listing that you can see on this page. These are pages that, once again, are getting constantly crawled by Google. So what happens is, your new page will get more quickly found by the Google crawlers and crawled and then indexed by Google. So those are the two actions you should take each time that you publish some new content in your website. So basically what you do is you put the title, URL, your RS URL, email. Over here you have this CAPTCHA which you just need to fill, and then you just send pings and your work is done. So you do the tweet, you put it in Facebook if you want, in Google+, then you do the ping, and that's basically what you should always do when you publish new content. Okay, so what are the actions you should take when you find another website that basically just stole your content and probably even claim it has their own, or you found a scrapper website that just copied and pasted your content in their own website and has more authority than your website? What are the things that you can do? The first thing is, of course, you must find where people are copying and pasting your content. There are several ways that you can do this. One is by using a website like Copyscape. Even though Copyscape is not completely a free option, but there are other options out there that are completely free and that you can use for the same purpose. But I like to use Copyscape, and basically what you do is you just post over here the link that you have inside of your website, and you press Copyscape search, and it will search on the internet to see if there are pages which have exactly the same content that you have inside of this page. And you can see that there are no websites that have duplicate content from prosectors.org, which is the front page of my website. But probably if I check other pages in my website, I may find a few in some scrapper websites. And this is a good way for you to see that. Another thing that you can do is by installing a plugin in your WordPress website. This is for WordPress, but you can install a plugin, for example, Tynt. Tynt is a plugin which will inform you by email each time that someone decides to basically duplicate their content inside of their own website. And you can use this tool for that purpose. It's really, really good, and it's free. The other thing is, once you found a website that has duplicate content, what are the actions that you can take so you can put that content down and notify Google? Well, easy. You go to this website. Okay, this is a DMCA report that you can do once you find someone who is using your content, they stole your content, and you basically just fill this report with the required information that they ask, and then you just I'm not a robot, you gotta basically fill this checkbox, and then you just press submit so you can send a notification to Google, and then they will verify that website and see if they are actually copying your content or not. And once they do, they will put that content, they will probably not index that content inside of their search engine and pass all of the authority to your own web page. And sure, you have the link from this website, from Google DMCA website, inside of the description from this video, so you just need to click on it and probably save it as a favorite if you want, so you can later on do a report when needed. One aspect that you can follow so you can avoid having duplicate content inside of your website is simply avoiding writing similar content inside of your website. This many times happens in niches related to where you talk about softwares, about applications, about technology in general, because technology is constantly getting updated with new features and so on. So it's not worth for you to write, let's say that you write one article and in the next month you write a new article where you basically talk about the same things and you add some extra features. It's not worth you doing that, because you will end up having content that is very similar inside of your website. For example, I have this article over here where I talk about search engine optimization. I did this article in the beginning of this year, in 2016, and even though in a matter of 1 year a lot of things will change inside of the Google search engine, and actually if you don't know much about search engine, how to rank your website high inside of the search engine, I recommend for you to watch this video that I did, because you will learn a lot about that. Anyway, a lot of things will change in the search engine in a matter of 1 year, because Google is constantly updating their algorithm with new information, and just in a year they basically do 500 or more updates to their algorithm. But the core principles that get your website ranking well inside of Google, I don't expect that they will change much from this year to the other. So it's not worth for me to write a full guide once again in 2017 talking about SEO. So what I will do is I simply will update this article over here with new information. And this is a good habit for you to have, because one, you will spare a lot of time, because this article over here has about 5,000 words or more. So that's a very time consuming for me to write a new article talking about this. So you spare a lot of time by editing your older content with fresh new information. And the second thing that is really important is this web page will start aging inside of the search engine. It will start getting more influence inside of the search engine. So it's just worth for you to invest your time just editing this content and providing fresher information to your visitors. So this is something that you can do instead of always writing similar content inside of your website. The other thing that you can do is by installing a plugin that is called Yoast SEO. And once again, I'm not going into full detail about this plugin. If you want to learn more, just check my other video where I go in deep detail about this plugin. Anyway, for you to install this plugin, I'm actually going to my test website to show you. You need to go to the plugin section and just press Add New. If you don't know, Yoast SEO is a plugin that lets you easily optimize your WordPress website for the search engines. So once you go to the plugin page, you want to search for Yoast SEO. And you will see that it's the first plugin that appears in the listing. And you just press Install Now. Activate the plugin. So you can start using it. And you will see that now you have on the sidebar, you have a new section called SEO. And you want to go to titles and metas. Okay, in this section, I'm going to show to you how you can not index specific pages that you have inside of your website, which typically have only duplicate content. This includes commonly the category pages for your website. For example, when someone goes to social media, which is a category page inside of my website, all of these posts are providing some duplicate content. They have this small piece of information which is inside of my main article. So this is duplicate content. And for this reason, I'm not going to index the category page also the same thing for the author page, which is when someone clicks on the link that belongs to your name, you are taken to the author page, and this once again has duplicate content. And also in the home page, which is working as a blog, you have over here the archives, which is the second page, the third page, and so on. Typically, I don't like to index these pages because I don't want my visitors being able to find these pages inside of the search engine. It doesn't look good. I don't like taking my visitors immediately to the second page of my blog section. So I'm not going to index these pages. So for me to do that, you need to go to your plugin. Then you want to go to first to taxonomies. And I'm not certain if I'm saying this word correctly. Anyway, the first thing that you want to do is, this is for categories. You don't want to index them because of duplicate content, as I said previously. And Yoast SEO meta box, well, I mean, if you're not optimizing this page for the search engines, it's really not that needed. So I'm just going to hide it. Same thing for tags. Typically they provide duplicate content, so I'm not going to index them. And also I'm going to hide the Yoast SEO meta box over there. So once you have that done, you want to press Save Changes. Now you want to go to the Archives tab. And also you want to disable the author page. So you want to disable over here and author archives. If you want to fully disable the author archives, which is something that I don't like to do, you may want to use this option to disable it. And also database archives, I'm not going to index this. I'm just going to leave as it is at the present moment, and I'm just going to press Save Changes. Now you want to go to author, and in author you can see site-wide meta settings, subpages of archives, which is the second page and the third page, as I showed to you previously. Over here, I don't want to index these pages. So for me to do that, I'm just going to use no index and just press Save Changes. And basically, that is all that you need to do when it comes to this section, so you cannot have so much duplicate content inside of your website. Now I'm going to show to you how you can use the canonical tag inside of your posts or pages of your website. So let's talk about canonical tags, how you can use it. It's a extremely weird name. I wonder where they actually got this name. Anyway, canonical tags you want to use, for example, in that case where I mentioned about the guest post, you write a guest post for another website, and let's say that after a week or so, you decide to republish the same content inside of your website. Then you can use the canonical tag. And the canonical tag can be found when you have Yoast SEO installed. Can be found by clicking on this option over here. You can see that you have canonical URL. Basically what you are telling is, once the Google crawlers find this page inside of your website, which is basically copied content, okay, this is duplicate content, you just republish the guest post from another website, you're basically telling the search engine crawlers that this is duplicate content, and they can find the original content in the specific URL which you will insert inside of this blank spacing. Okay, that's basically what you are telling. So this is duplicate content because this is my test website, and this is the 2 simple ways to get rid of Proudly Powered by WordPress, which you can find inside of my website in this specific page. So what you want to do is you want to grab the URL from the original page. So this is the original page. I'm just going to grab this URL, copy it, and then I'm going to paste it in this blank spacing. And basically I'm telling the crawlers that this is duplicate content. Okay, this is duplicate content, and they should go to this URL where they can find the main content so they can index this content. This is the content that they should index, and they shouldn't pay attention to this one. So this is something that you can use for the guest posts inside of your website when it's set to republish it. Or you can even use it if you have two pages inside of your website that have similar content. Or for example, let's say that you decide to migrate your website to another domain name. You can also use the canonical URL so you can tell the search engine crawlers to go to that other website that you now have and basically index that website and not give importance to the content that you have inside of your old website. So now I'm going to show to you how you can use the 301 redirection, and because sometimes it just doesn't make sense for you to use the canonical tag. For example, when you remove a page from your website, most people typically think that when they delete a web page, it just vanishes from the internet, which is not correct because it's still indexed by the search engines. And until the search engines completely remove that web page from being indexed, it may take a long time. So what happens is people will still find that web page inside of the search engine. They will go to your web page that has been removed and they won't find any kind of content. So you should use a redirection for that kind of cases. And also it helps the crawlers when they go to a web page that you already removed, they are redirected to the page where you actually have the content, and basically it tells the crawlers this is the page that they should index inside of your website. So basically what I'm saying is, let's say that I remove this web page from my website. Okay, I remove this web page, and what I want to do is when someone goes to this URL of this web page, instead of not seeing any kind of content at all, they are redirected to this web page over here where they can find the content that I want to show to them. So this is exactly what I'm going to explain. So for you to do this, you need to go to your web host cPanel, and once you are in your web host cPanel, you want to go to under files, you want to go to file manager, and in this listing you want to choose the website where you want to make the redirection, and then you just press go. So you will see plenty of files that belong to your website, but the one that you want is the .htaccess file. So this is the file that you want to use. The first thing that I recommend is for you to make a backup of this file into your computer. So you just double click on it and you can see that it makes a backup to your computer, into your computer. Because if you mess something inside of this, the coding of this .htp access file, then once you refresh your website, you probably will just see a blank website with no content at all. So at least if you have a backup file, you can easily recover the information from your website. Also, if you don't have this file for some reason, then just create a new file called .htaccess. So just create a file with this name. Now what you want to do is select this file and press edit. So press edit and you go to this file. What you want to do is go right below all of these lines, and the first thing that you want to write is called redirect 301. So this is the first thing that you want to write, redirect 301. Then you want to put your old URL, and next you want to put your new URL. So basically your old URL is the URL from the web page that you removed from your website, and your new URL is where you want to redirect people to. So now I'm just going to get my old URL. So I'm going to the page that I want to remove from my website. And in this case, you don't need the full URL from your web page. You just need the extension from this web page, which is just this removed. So you just need this extension. You just copy it. You go back to your HTSS file, and where you see old URL, you just paste this extension. Now in your URL, you want to grab the full URL from your web page, which is all of this line over here that you can see. So you just copy it, you go back to your file, and you paste it right on top. So this is what you need to do so you can do a redirection. So you just put your old URL, the page where you want the redirection to happen, then you put the location where you want people to be redirected to. So once you have that done, you just press save. The file is saved. Once you refresh this web page, which I made the redirection, you can see that I'm immediately taken to this web page over here. Okay, so this is also a way for you to prevent having duplicate content inside of your website, and also to help the search engine crawlers to more easily find the content that you want to be indexed inside of your website. You can also use redirect 301 for other purposes. For example, if you decide to purchase a .info, .org, and a bunch of similar domain names, because you don't want other people purchasing those domain names and building a website around them. So you can do that, and then you can redirect all of those domain names to your main website. You can use the same method to do that. Okay, so that is all for this video. I hope you enjoy. If you have any question, then leave it in the comment section right below. I will try to reply as soon as possible. Please like, please share this video, and also subscribe so you can receive my weekly video updates where I talk about WordPress, about search engine optimization, how to make money online, and much more. So stay there, stay tuned with Pro Tutorials, and bye!